Good morning, it's July 2nd. Quite pleasant 23 degrees right now, but it's going up to 36, so good reason to get the walk in ahead of time. 36 is about 97 Fahrenheit, so this is the time to get out here and get the walking in. It's going down to 19 for a low, so it is the one good thing about our dry climate is that usually even if you have a really hot day, it cools off at night quite a bit. So it's the day after Canada Day. July is off and running. I'm off and walking. This is a Friday, so we're going around the lake. Where I am. If you come with me, it'll be a wee going around the lake. Wascana Lake, that is. A lot of warmth in the sun already. So I'll be warm doing this. So yesterday was Canada Day. We didn't do much. We went out for a barbecue at the golf club that we belong to. Not that we're golfers much, but we go out there. At least we have social access to it, to the dining events and stuff like that. I've always wanted to be a golfer, but have never quite made it happen. And of course, that means you're bad at it when you do it, and then it's not as much fun. Although as far as I can tell, everybody who golfs wishes they were better at it. Even the pros. That was it. Normally there would have been a bunch of events in the park, concerts and food trucks and fireworks and all that, but didn't happen this year or last year. Although there were plenty of fireworks around last night. People had their own fireworks. We could hear them for an hour or more, hearing popping off here and there. I don't believe that's legal, but people will, fireworkers will find a way. I'm not even sure where you get fireworks in Canada. As an American kid, I was very disappointed in that because in the States, there were fireworks stands everywhere before July 4th. You could get anything. And we'd buy Black Cat firecrackers. 100 for 50 cents. Or 50 for $1, I don't remember which. And you could set those off all at once if you wanted to, because they were all strung together. Or you could pick them off and do them one at a time. That was kind of our basic firework. But then we'd also have bottle rockets and all sorts of other things. I never blew off a finger, so win-win. Then I came up here and found out you just couldn't buy fireworks. It was very disappointing. So I was always glad if we happened to be down in the States visiting relatives around July 4th. I could still play with fireworks. See how crowded things are around the lake today. There are all these people up here. Looks like they have that closed off for some reason, so I'll use the crosswalk instead of going through the tunnel. It may be flooded or something else going on down there. I saw those kids just went into it, but they clearly don't want you down there. Oh, they've painted it, that's why. Probably painted over the graffiti, which they do periodically. Always comes back though. Here's the bridge, Albert Street Bridge. Normally when there are fireworks, this will be blocked off, and lots of people, we always just walk over here to the bridge, and the fireworks come off of Willow Island, which we'll walk by over there. And so you can watch them reflected in the water. And it does, I think I can risk it. It does annoy the geese. You can see it's breezy, waves on the lake this morning. If you're out there on Facebook or YouTube, say hello. There's a few people walking around. It's a good point. See the legislature builder over there. Hi, Roger. There's somebody walking the wrong way. Maybe they're opened it up already. But I'll go this way today. Looks like the wind may be blowing the aeration fountain water right over the path there. I'll find that out in a minute. I'm always annoyed that other people walk around the lake. I'd like to have it to myself. People are annoying. Oh yes, I am a bit of a loner. It goes with being a rider. I think it's blowing hard enough to quite get onto the walkway today. It certainly does sometimes. Be stuck behind these ladies. Oh, yeah, there's the moisture. Oof. Geese. Somebody must be feeding them. Generally speaking, don't think they need encouragement, but you can see the boys there. That's for rowing events and things like that. Robert Plaza over there that I've walked by a few times. We got an unstable internet connection warning. I don't know why. Can't see that note. And there's Willow Island, I mentioned. That is sword Excalibur is in my books, Shards of Excalibur. For which there is news. I'm working on reissuing, but getting that series more attention. So, this first is available on Amazon. So that works. The ebook versions are now linked to the audiobook versions properly. There's some confusion in the list because of the audiobooks versions. They're still old paperbacks from clear sellers. Again, that's where Arthur shows up. Right, will be and tells the teenager that she's not late. And that she I had the task of finding the sky before burning them. It's like the big Stevie kind of guy in the world, named Rex Major. Taking the shortcuts here today. Sit up. But again, I'm getting, thank you, Roger. Again, getting unstable internet here behind the leaves. Always seems to work that way. So that's where Song of the Sword begins. Right there. When the Lady of the Lake shows up, right there. In a virtual form. She's actually made out of water. It's kind of a projection of herself. And parts of the books keep coming back to Regina and Saskatchewan throughout, even though they do go all over the world. Look at all these people. So annoying. This is my lake. It's not your lake. Trespassers. I have lost the YouTube signal along here once or twice. I hope I haven't today. I've seen a lot of unstable internet mornings. And that sometimes means, usually get a message if it goes down though. I haven't so far. And in front of me is moving at a brisk pace. I could do it that fast, but not in talk. other end of Willow Island. So over there is where they would set off fireworks if there had been any this year. Imagine anybody wanting to walk around the lake today has come out early while it's still relatively cool. More geese. More unstable internet. It was somewhere along here I lost the signal once on one walk. There's more people on boats out there. And of course there's the legislative building. And the Albert Street Bridge way over there, lit up in the sun.
But use the plant base. Okay, you know what you need to do.
So if I get any work done today, it's not a holiday, but it is right after one, so it feels a bit like a long weekend. I'll stay up here this time. I've walked down there the last few times. Well, except of course it's more interesting down there. All right, I'll go down there. Still got publishing stuff to do, lots of editing. The Tangled Stars, my new novel, revising it, editing stories for Shapers of Worlds Volume 2. Oh, I got the second last outstanding story, not counting mine, yesterday. So just one more from the authors who are not me to come in. I'm expecting it shortly. So I'll get the editing done, layout, proofing, all that stuff. And on track for it to match last year's release, which was in September. Don't think there'll be any problem making that. At worst, it might be October. 24 stories, 18 original, 6 reprints. There's our kayakers with the legislature behind them. That makes a nice picture. That might be my thumbnail today, we'll see. Getting a little spray off of that fountain too. It is more interesting down here. It's a little further. Oh, there's some young geese still around. They haven't all turned into almost adult yet. But a young teenager geese at that point. So far, I was just going to say I hadn't seen anybody on YouTube, but there's Kirk, so hi. Clearly YouTube is still up. Didn't fail during one of my shaky connection sections back there. Say that fast. Oh, pelicans. Shaky connection sections. Several pelicans. Let's go take a look at the pelicans. There you go, pelicans. Don't worry, I'm not going to bother you. Another boat. It's a canoe this time. And there are boats here. I'll have to go this way, go through the playground. Doesn't look like there's room between it and the lake. Glad I don't have to walk in sand the whole way. There's a boat launch over there. Of course, over there is Bar Willow, nice restaurant. We have my brother and his wife will be visiting tonight, and we would originally have generally thought of going to the deck, but over there. But since it's going to be 36, we decided to go to an indoor restaurant. The boat launch. They're about to launch a kayak. Another footbridge coming up. Of course, just the other side of the Broad Street over here is the Connexus Art Center, where I started from on a walk earlier this week. I went out around the university. That's Pine Island over there. We'll probably walk around it when we get there. Still water under the bridge. Little beach there is always popular with the waterfowl. call that a beach. I mentioned before, I like these kind of silvery trees that break up the monotony of the green. I'm not sure what they are. I should know, but I don't. So coming up to Pine Island, there's the bridge over. The bridge over the, it's not the River Kwai. Da, 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 da. And it wasn't built by Japanese prisoners of war either, or blown up by them, so it doesn't really fit at all. I mean, prisoners of war of the Japanese, not Japanese prisoners of war. Really should watch that movie. I think I've only seen it once, a long time ago. I know my wife would like to watch it. So, the bridge is carefully oriented to point you straight at the legislative building as we come over. View in one direction, view in the other. If it's not too windy, we'll walk under the waterfall, which is an aeration waterfall, not a natural one, obviously, if you look at the landscape. Water has to go uphill before it can fall. That takes a pump right here. Our house is sort of between here and the little white bump that's Mosaic Stadium there. Pretty close to that other lower red brick house building. Nice breeze out here. That's Spruce Island over there. So there's 3 islands in the lake on this side of Broad Street. Willow, spruce, and pine. Or willow, pine, and spruce. In the order we'll be encountering them. And here's the waterfall. It's usually a little wet under here, but if you stick close to the wall, it's not too bad. Unless the wind's blowing this direction, then it's really bad. The geese like this island. Mostly pretty grown-up geese. Don't really see any little ones here. But some of these may be ones who are little, who are now almost grown, because they started early in the year. Pardon me, coming through. Yeah, you too. Oh, they've really got it blocked up here. I'm coming. You better move. Yeah. I'm not hurting you. Not hurting you or hurting you. All right. That's Pine Island. It's the only one you can walk onto. Willow is developed for picnicking. Spruce over there is completely undeveloped. You can't get to it except with a boat, and there's no place to land if you did. Back across the footbridge. Jet. Big old jet airplane. No, it's big old jet airliner. Big old jet airliner, don't carry me too far away. Here's where I have to stay. I'm coming. I'm coming. Nice view now down this way to downtown, opening up over there behind Pine Island. And then it gets cuts off by the trees. Oh, somebody new. Who's there? Brandon. Hi, Brandon. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's you know, all you could do is walk around and look at the birds in the lake, but walk under the waterfall. But that building on it is used for rowing and boating events. All goes back to when the lake was deepened and they held the Canada Summer Games here because the lake was newly improved. And that was built and was used as a timing stand, and I think still is. Not like you can picnic on it or anything, just walk around it. Squirrel. And there goes my connection, unstable again. Again, because of the leaves, I'm sure, between me and wherever the cell tower we're currently using is. That's why I post the recording later and don't just leave up the live stream on YouTube. That way the permanent record of the walk, or as permanent as anything is when it's digital and on some site that may not exist in 20 years, doesn't have any buffering in it, and it's high def too. Streams at 720, but on YouTube, once I put it up, it's 1080. I could record it in 4K, but I don't. Take a lot of space. The Caraganas are starting to put out seeds. So they use their bell. It's nice. I often complain about bicyclists that zip by you without any warning. And even as I said that, of course, others went by without any warning. Here, let's take the dirt path today. I haven't walked down this way for a while. Probably not helping my internet reception though, our connection. Not an official path, but it's official enough because so many people have taken it that it's become a permanent path. blocked by this tree. You have to go around. There's a rabbit. More wildlife. Little tiny rabbit. That's a baby rabbit. I also think water probably runs down this path. I'm going to pass the same people again. Nice and shady over there under the trees. I'm sure it's already gone up a degree or two since I started. 23 as I set out. What if Siri would answer me? She might, but probably interrupt the flow somehow, so I won't do that. Another squirrel. There's a nice breeze. I welcome that. You probably can't hear it. There's water out here. There's an outflow, another aeration thing. It's the other side of this, which I've gone to the last couple of times. I never know how much background sound carries to the mic. Some certainly, but not as much as when I was using the just the phone mic. Another squirrel. And geese, of course. There's a young goose, a couple of young geese. Chirp, 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 you too. Here's the monument to the Ukrainian genocide at the hands of the communists under Stalin. A lot of Ukrainians around here. Still a reminder of what communism means. Death and destruction on a massive scale. Tyranny and oppression. Lots of other nasty words I could come up with. The lake is nicely lit on this side for dramatic purposes. Over here is the tennis club, Lakeshore Tennis Club. More dramatic lighting with the American Access Art Center over there. And a nice breeze off the lake again. Over there, that's the other fountain we walked by. Maybe we'll go by the Trafalgar Fountain today and walk through the garden from this end, see how the flowers are doing. Over there, there's the little footbridge we walked across and the other aeration fountain. Keeping oxygen in the water for the fishies. Right, let's go over to the Trafalgar Fountain. See if it's running. And yes, it is. So this is the fountain that once stood in Trafalgar Square and came to Saskatchewan in 1939, I believe. I always like to think about the fact that my wife's grandfather, whose memoirs, First World War memoirs I published, it's called One Lucky Devil, if you want to look it up, the First World War memoirs of Samson J. Goodfellow, would have seen that when he was overseas in Trafalgar Square, and then 20 years after he got back to Regina, 21 years, it followed him here, which is kind of fun to think about. This is the east end of the legislative building. It opens up very nicely as you walk around it. A handsome building. And as I like to mention, a few years ago they redid the dome, which needed serious work inside and out, resheathed it in new copper. So for a while we had a bright copper dome before it turned black again, greenish black. What's that note? That seems to happen to so many people. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but I'm sure it does. The trouble is I don't see the notes right away because of the sun, so sometimes I don't know what they're referring to. There's the ledge. Sometimes I go up the front steps, but that's currently inaccessible because of sort of a memorial to the children whose graves were just discovered from the Indian residential schools. And that's what that's all about over there. I think they were doing backpacks, was the idea. Backpacks to represent the children. There's the dome. And here's the ceremonial, or the formal gardens, I guess. There's Queen Elizabeth's statue that we saw the Queen unveil or dedicate in 2005 when she was here. And my daughter was fortunate enough to give her flowers, so I got a really nice picture of the Queen from like 3 feet away. In the pouring rain, or at least the heavily drizzly rain. Oh, the flowers have already come a long way since just last weekend when I walked through here. Can smell them too. Well, you can't, but I can. Of course, you look back the other way, you get the sense of how the flowers work with the legislature there. I don't know what that sound was. I thought for a minute it was bees, but it would have to be a whole swarm to sound like that. So if it was, there were a lot of bees in those flowers somewhere. Oh, topiary. It's a fish. I just realized that. 2 leaping fish. I don't remember them doing that before. Maybe I just didn't notice. Oh, that's cool. These things that look like pine trees are actually succulents on a form. Okay, there's Walter Scott, the first premier and the one who was driving force behind the legislative building. So he's standing there with blueprints in his hand looking at the legislative building. I portrayed him once for the Hill Company's centennial. I portrayed Walter Scott. The gag was that he'd come back 100 years later in a time machine, H.G. Wells' time machine. So I was able to talk about what the city was like in 1905 compared to what it was in 2005. Geese are all over here, enjoying the sunshine, I guess. Coming through. And of course, as I point out, the bridge doesn't span very much water. It runs all the way from here down to there. But the only water it spans is where the dam is that forms the lake, because it's really of course, this is entirely artificial. All these trees were planted. The lake is man-made. It was just a prairie stream till they dammed it and dug out the lake. It's been deepened twice. It was deepened in the 30s. And then again in whatever year that was, 2004 maybe? 2003? I know our daughter was very small, but I can never remember the year. It had to have been before 2005 because that's when I wrote the history of the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan, and it was one of the projects featured in that. And it was over by then. So maybe 2003? That sounds right. Oh, I see pelicans again here. They like the be right here by the spillway, either on this side or the other side, looking for fish. Don't usually see them over here though. They're more likely to see them on the other side. There's one. Oh, there he goes, down the spillway. And down there, there's more. Okay, almost back to the crosswalk. So we'll be leaving the lake until next Friday, or at least this portion of it. I don't know where I'll walk over the next week, but I try to save the walk around the lake for Fridays. As I like to say, those are about the only houses in Lakeview neighborhood that actually have a lake view. whole neighborhood's called Lakeview, but most of it is, well, obviously not a Lakeview at all. Well, the tunnel looks open from this end, but it was fairly blocked at the other, so I think I'll take the crosswalk again. Yeah, they've got it blocked off. I think they must have painted down there or something. It doesn't work. The vandals get in there and graffiti it on a regular basis. Shortly after it's painted, it'll have graffiti in it again. All right, we go across here. Oop. No, don't dare quite jaywalk because there is one car coming down there. If he goes by, I can jaywalk safely. Just a couple more blocks, and this will be over. I can't currently read the screen, so if anybody said anything, I can't see it. Again, this will show up shortly, the non-buffering version, and I'll delete the live version. The only time I leave the live version up is if something goes wrong with the recording, which it did one day. I wanted to adjust something and it inadvertently stopped it, and discovered that when I got back, my recording of my hour walk was only 1 minute and 58 seconds. So that day I left the live one up and added it to the playlist. Yesterday was my 120th Walking in Regina video. So this is number 121. I haven't missed a day. I will at some point, but so far I haven't. The underpass, actually, they recently added a mural to one end of it, the end closest to the lake. So they're doing some of that, and maybe they're planning to do the whole tunnel. I don't know. Because it looked like they had maybe painted it white, and it's not usually white, it's usually a cream color. It's possible they painted it white and are planning to put art over the white background. But they better move fast, because graffiti people will show up right away. I don't know if that's what they planned, but they did do some out at the one end. I saw them doing it one day when I walked around, couldn't figure out what was going on down there, and then discovered it on the next walk. Probably last Friday or the Friday before, I walked by it and took a good look at it. The statue of the Queen in front of the legislature has a specific Saskatchewan connection. She's riding a horse that was one of her favorites, and he was born and bred in Canada and possibly in Saskatchewan. I think he was a Saskatchewan horse, if I remember right. I'd have to look at the plaque again to be 100% sure, but I think that's one reason for the statue. It's fairly new, as I said. It was only put up in 2005. 2004? 2004. The dates get confused. I was trying to think how old Alice was. I was holding her the whole time. I think she was just turning 3, which would put it in 2004. Okay, pretty much home, so I'll stop here. Thanks for walking with me, whether you were with me live or watching the replay, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye for now.